Well, today was a great day. I followed my rules and took a trade that ended up being just perfect. Ended up being like a 150R trade or something like that. I obviously didn't grab all of that, but just perfect entry into full-on nuke of the market, which is always super fun. So we're gonna go and recap that and talk about, you know, being patient and things like that. This is from my live stream this morning on my main channel, Trades by Matt. So come hang out over there. This is done on my 50K Apex funded account. So you can use code TBM to get started. The best discount always. Let's get into it. Yo! Good morning. Welcome. Well, chat, we talked about it yesterday. First off, make sure you press the thumbs up button down below. We need to get to 420 so I can click the It's Lit button. We talked about it yesterday. The IB trades are still just... They're the best trades that have been around so far, in my opinion. Still, yesterday confirmed that. I got off stream yesterday and it did exactly what we had talked about, which was that IB to the 80 rotation. So I think today, my plan today, and we'll obviously talk about levels and the pre-market analysis in a second. But my plan today is to only take wick tests if they're there pre-IB. And if the wick test is not there on IB, then I'm waiting for IB. That's my plan. Okay. It's going to be a day. It's Tuesday patience. It's I was gonna make a play on Tuesday in the word patience and the word pay. Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Shinstay. I don't know. Sounds like pig Latin. So that's the plan. Be smart, be patient. Force myself to be patient. I will take a wick test if I see it, if it's not in the middle of a range. And other than that, I'll wait for IB. And hopefully it's not a day where we're ranging and we just get snapped back into IB. But you never know. From a market perspective, I also have some other things I want to talk about today at some point. Specifically, actual legitimate stocks. I want to talk about some legitimate stocks at some point. Since we are getting like a little bit of a pullback off the highs, I want to talk about if there's anything that's worth keeping an eye out on for the old long-term portfolios. All right. I know it's not trading, but it's a good time to do it. Okay. What else? We are inside yesterday's value area. Value area low at 215. VWAP down at 200. Coming up on a podium control from yesterday at 300. Overnight highs currently getting ticked, and value area high at 330. So right now, I mean, the overnight highs are getting ticked. We're about to open 20 seconds. Podium control obviously seems very likely. 300 from prior day. 330s also seems likely. We get above 330s, break out above, come back, retest, and go. Could be on the table. Rejecting up there also could definitely be on the table for a little return to VWAP. We'll see. The daily is this, looking nice and heavy. We never got past that 370 mark, so that's on the table. If we break through 330, then we're watching 370s. We pop 370s, then we're watching like 600s, honestly. Markets are open. If we're coming back down, we're watching volume 19 ones, new lows on the session, and then 19 flat. Kind of the general plan though. And yeah, just being patient. I think I've just not been being very patient, to be perfectly honest. And that obviously goes right in line with you know, not getting good. Like obviously volatility is a little bit higher. I need to like be patient for that, and waiting for legit good setups helps with the sniper entries when you're trying to keep it pretty tight on these smaller accounts. So that's the plan. That's the plan, Stan. I wish we had a Stan in the chat so I could say that's the plan, Stan. But that's it. Yeah, that's where we're at. News wise on the session, we've got consumer confidence and jolts at 9 o'clock. So even if I wasn't waiting for IB, I would probably be waiting for 9 o'clock. I think being greedier for cheaper trades is a good way to say it. Yeah, I actually do like that way of saying it. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the plan. It's just, yeah, be greedy for cheap trades. We do have a good dad joke of the day, so that's exciting. Back-to-back good ones. Who is your mentor? I don't know. I don't really have a mentor. Never had one when I was starting out. It wasn't even like, that wasn't really a common phrase when I was starting out trading. It's been a much more recent common phrase. I feel like everybody has to have a mentor these days. When I was figuring out trading and learning how to trade, it was just figure it the out, you know? And it's lit. It's lit. It's lit. It's lit. It's lit. Alrighty. Dad joke of the day, July 30th. Tuesday. Patience day. Why are elevator jokes so great? Why? Because they work on so many levels. Just a class. That's a classic dad joke right there. That's just like straight up just that's a classic one. Why are elevator jokes so great? They work on many levels. Use code TBM, pass eval in 4 days. Secret sauce was the code, LOL. I mean, you said it. You said it. Code TBM. If you're wanting to get started with Apex, you can use code TBM for the best discount always. No matter what. If you're unsure if it's 80% off, 70% off, 90% off, 1 day to pass, whatever, use code TBM. I'll always get you the best available. Got my first approved payout this morning. Nice. Yeah, someone in the Discord got approved for 57K this morning. 57,000. All right. So we're still just kind of grinding away here. We got news in 20 minutes. I said it and I'll say it again. Gonna be a patient day for me. Yesterday we talked about how IB trades have been the best trades the last couple weeks, and yesterday proved that again. So if I see a wick test, a true wick test pop up, I'll take that as long as it's not in the middle of a range. And other than that, I'm gonna wait for IB. Initial balance. Exclamation point IB if you don't know what that is. Chad, I got some big news. Got some big news. Are you ready for it? Has to do with Alani. You ready for the big news with Alani? Alani website, baby. Alani Cherry is the goated flavor of all time. It literally makes you trade better. Use code TBM at checkout. Wait, the chat thinks it's real.
Congrats.
Who made the fake website? This is the real website, man. It's just this beautiful thing called Inspect Element. If I click this, it all goes away. I think the last two code drops have been pretty decent. Smaller font next time. Yeah, I didn't know how to change the font, unfortunately. I could barely remember how to do Inspect Element, to be honest. I used to live in an Inspect Element. I feel like that was like prime middle school, high school humor. We got news in 5 minutes, chat. And we're hanging out probably at VWAP until news, if I had to guess.
Have you ever wanted to give up trading?
Honestly, no. It's a confident no. And I don't think I ever will. I've said this for forever. I think even if I like quote unquote retire, I think I will still trade in some capacity. All right. We had news. We've pushed to VWAP, but we kind of flushed off of it. Kind of a non-event. Here's the jolts coming in green. Consumer confidence coming in green. It kind of, I feel like green normally means we go down. So, I mean, buyers are heavy in the short term. We'll see if they defend this prior open or not, which as of right now they are. 96, 95, whatever that is. Like, I mean, we blast through 89, I think it gets ugly, but till then, kind of got a little bit of wiggle room here. Well, I guess it was a cheap trade. Cheap trade off of prior open, huh? Did anybody take that? I mean, the stop should have been 89, right? Prior open. So it's a 5-point trade risk. I need to follow him. I said I was going to wait for either a true wick test or IB, so I'm not going to take that, but interesting trade. Aren't you going to talk about stocks? Yeah, I guess since we're at VWAP, NVIDIA. How many of y'all think that we actually bid 98s or the full gap at 96? This one never got filled up at 32s. That's definitely low the boat level. That's what I think too. And I feel like everybody's gonna think that, right? Oh, yeah. NVIDIA, not NVIDIA. I'll call it whatever I want to call it. And I'm going to call it NVIDIA. Yes, Mitt will call it whatever he wants. That's great. All right, rejecting VWAP again. 12 minutes till IB is formed. I had a coworker who was my very first job out of school. Worked with a bunch of developers, and he was putting every single dollar that he had into NVIDIA. I'm just gonna call it NVIDIA for the meme at this point. He put every single dollar, like he would like save everything just so he could put it in NVIDIA. He was like, so he had that like inner belief system. You know what I mean? What is it called when you're like truly like your faith cannot be swayed? That would have been like Q1 of 2017. Conviction. Thank you. He had incredible conviction about it. Yeah. He was like, I'm not going to put money in any other stock other than NVIDIA. I haven't talked to the guy since 2018, I guess at this point, early 2018. And I would assume that he's crushing. Is there any, like who's got the math on like, what would like a arbitrary like 100 grand back in 17 be now? Like Q1 of 17. Do we know? After the splits accounted for, it was $2 a share in 2017. Okay. So yeah, he's, oh my God. 100x. Damn near close to 100x. Sheesh. Good for him. All right. Very good for him. All right. IB is getting set in 1 minute, chat. Right at IB, huh? Closing right around the lows on this session. Very close to it. Interesting spot where it's like, do you trade the untested wick at 65 or do you trade IB at 59? Maybe it's the same, basically the same thing. All right, chat. Quick vibe check. How are we doing today? You making money, you losing money, you being patient? What's going on? I'll tell you right now, I'm enjoying being patient. It feels good. It feels good to force myself to do it. Not take something stupid. Honestly, I haven't really seen too much except for like some of these VWAP trades. This one right here, potentially. Feels good to be patient. I kind of want us to like expand up a little bit and then come back down through IB just because of what we're currently seeing right now. Just so we can like get some more legs to the downside if I'm going to take the IB trade. Trying to tag new lows right now. We've got a little bit of sellers coming through. We're just like we're not really pushing it super hard, and that is very questionable to me. A little double bottom on the 1 minute. But imagine we push, like, I imagine we flush it. It's just, it's a scary trade to take right now because we haven't really done much. It's 80 points straight down without hardly much pullback. And like, if that's the IB test before just an absolute nuke, that's just nasty. I mean, a close down here. If we close here, 44s, and the retest of 58, IB is going to be decent. You know what I mean? Potentially even still. It's just like, how high do you give it on the run up is the hard part here. Closing in 5 seconds. What's Delta doing? Getting a little bit of a push. That might have been as close as we're going to get to the test. I don't know. Like instant 20-point yoink. Market in there. I don't know. I don't think that's... I just don't like marketing in on a trade like that. Got the sellers here. I mean, at this point, what I would probably prefer to see is like, you know, 30s to even like this volume here at 110s. And then kick back up to IB where we gave like a little bit of separation. This is like, I don't know, we just barely missed it. That was a good trade if you grabbed it. It wasn't a full test. And now like we're several red candles deep here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 30 minutes of basically straight down. So closing at 100 for a 50-point kick up, I think makes a lot of sense. You know, where you're still looking at something like this. Something like that, honestly, it would be like, I think very doable if we make the rotation down to the hundreds and then kick back up in IB, but who knows if it's going to actually kick back up. Were you waiting the whole hour for that setup? Not for that specific one. Ideally, you get filled. You wait an hour to get filled. But yeah, I waited for initial balance. Initial balance, it's not really waiting an hour for initial balance. It's waiting at least an hour for initial balance. That's the kicker, right? Just because initial balance is formed doesn't mean you trade it right away. Sometimes we just fully expand and it takes, 3 hours to get filled back up at it. This is that volume that I was talking about from the overnight session down here at the 110s. So I would like to see us rotate off of 110, to be perfectly honest. I'd like to see us rotate off of 110 and kick back up into IB and get a little bit of a retrace on some of this move. It's a fairly cheap trade too. Like you take something like this. How does that not fill? For real? Well, right idea off the 110s. Definitely the right idea off that volume. I wish I would have gotten filled, but it didn't happen. Definitely the right idea off the volume though at 110s. I don't really know how that didn't get filled. It looked like it hit it to the tick and it just straight up just didn't fill, but whatever. Why no market order after the ghost fill? I mean, why market order, right? I don't know. For me, market order is usually just like a sign of like no patience. If I don't get filled, I don't get filled. There's other trades to take. Come back down to the range. 116s, maybe. 120, magical 20s. Again, not a whole lot of sellers here, so a little buy up, I think, makes sense off of maybe this wick. Oh yeah, it's right where it jumped off of, huh? 118 or so. Something like this is interesting to me as well. Again, it's a cheap trade, right? And you could probably look more like that, even like potentially even like 20 out of it. Just based on a delta and how we're seeing everything moving. 115 trades. I was looking for 113. Imagine we push this. I would rather miss trades by a couple points than get into trades that I shouldn't be in just to be in, right? If you're going to be like precise or as precise as you can be, right? You're going to miss trades by a few points pretty often usually, right? That's what happens when you're trying to be extremely precise. And so I would rather be extremely precise and miss trades by a couple points over and over and over again in order to be precise on the trade that fills. Got a lot of buyers. Stops at 57, like a true double top on that prior candle that yoinked us. I'd be or bust on that fill for me when we got buyers like this. Real unlucky with the fills today. I mean, honestly, I'm fine with it though. I would rather be unlucky with the fills than be getting into a bunch of shit that I should not be in, right? Getting instant stopped out or whatever, where the risk is not super tight. Like I don't really know how else to describe it other than the fact that like I'm very happy that I'm very happy that it's the current time of day. I've been very patient and I either get filled or I don't get filled, right? See, unfilled. And maybe it runs straight through IB. I don't know. Maybe it runs straight to my 10 points. I don't know. But at least I waited for a trade that I liked. And the target's right at that prior high. Isn't it crazy how like... Man, trading. It's just trading in a nutshell, right? Like, the last couple days... I've not been being patient. I've not been waiting for trades that I know I should be taking, not waiting for A+ setups. Guess what happens when I wait and I'm patient and I wait for a setup that I really like to take? And look, I could have gotten my full 20 points. That 40s level is what I was talking about on wanting the full 20 points there, 39, whatever it is. And it worked, but I believed that I needed to get a base hit first. Again, following my rules, right? And don't look for more. Just get my base hit, get a green trade. I need a green trade that works. Get back in the rhythm, right? And it's just so, trading is so silly in that perspective of like, you beat yourself up and you don't follow your rules or whatever, and you pay the price for it, and then you have a come to Jesus moment with yourself, and you're like, God damn it, Matt, just sit. You know?